story begins with a 36-year-old woman named An-kul, who doesn't have a home of her own. She lives in her older brother's house and takes care of his 2 children, from getting them up in the morning to tucking them in at night. Kul does it all. Over time, though, the kids start behaving just like Kul. Basically, they went from our daddy's angels to miniature versions of Aunt Kul, which is the exact horror no parent asks for. Her brother absolutely hates this. So one day he tells her, "Aunt Kul, you can't stay here anymore. Get out of my house." Kul says, "Fine, but I've raised your kids for years. I want to be paid for that." And she calculates a housemaid's salary coming to 170 million won, which is about 10 million rupees. Her brother is rich, so he hands her a card with a limit of 200 million won. Kul asks for the password, and he says, "My daughter's date of birth." The next day, Kul meets a local property broker and tells him, "Find me a small room nearby." She's convinced her brother will call her back within a month. The broker says there's a nice house available, but it's a bit far. Kul refuses. She says, "I'd rather live in a dumpster right here than move far away. My brother will definitely call me back one day. If I move far, he'll forget me." Kul. Newsflash. If he's kicking you out with a debit card, he's already forgotten you. He's just paying for the deluxe guilt-free package. So, the broker does what he can and finds her a rental in an apartment complex called Green Apartments, which is close by. The next day, Kul packs her things and moves in. First, she meets the apartment's guard, who's shocked to see a new face. It's been ages since anyone new moved in. Kul, being her bubbly self, always greets people with "happy day, happy week, happy month." Today, she's wishing the guard a happy month. The guard says, "Get out of here. This apartment isn't for humans." "Sir, what is it for?" "Werewolves." IKEA furniture with abandonment issues. The first day passes fine, but at night Kul starts feeling something strange. She tries to sleep, but as soon as the clock strikes 4 a.m., loud banging starts upstairs. She goes up to ask, "Why are you making so much noise at night?" No one replies. Kul starts to leave, then sees a woman standing behind her with a knife. Kul runs to the guard, telling him to call the police. The guard says, "It's 4 a.m. chill. I told you yesterday this place isn't for humans." Ah yes, classic security not here to protect you, but to tell you, "I told you so," while you're being stabbed. The next day, Kul brings her officer friend to investigate. She explains that the knife-wielding woman came after her last night, but when they go to the woman's apartment, she's incredibly kind, welcoming everyone warmly. Kul starts doubting herself. Did she really see her? Did the woman really attack her? Or was it someone else? Turns out, this woman is the leader of the apartment building, so how could she be wrong? The officer tells Kul, "I know this has been happening here for the last 6 months. Every night at 4 a.m., someone bangs loudly and disturbs everyone. The whole building complained, but the construction company said it's not their fault. The building is fine, and the culprit's never been caught. They just bang, then disappear." Now Kul is even more unsettled. Later, she attends a residents' meeting. Some people want the building repaired and rebuilt, but others argue it will take over a year, and they'll have nowhere to stay, plus they'd have to pay extra. They've already put all their money into buying these homes. The leader and Kul leave the meeting, but then they see a man from the building so disturbed by the constant noise that he's about to jump to his death. Nothing says great neighborhood like moving in and immediately getting front row seats to a suicide attempt. Kul calmed him down and said, "Wait, we'll catch the culprit soon. Don't throw your life away like this. What's your name? How old are you?" It turns out this is Hung. 36 years old, Kul says. "I'm also 36, and if you jump, I'll tell everyone you were the culprit. They'll drag your dead body around and beat it up." Nothing says his friendship like threatening posthumous beatings. Hung agrees to come down and says, "If you don't catch the culprit in a week, I'll climb back up here and jump." He explains that a fortune teller once told him he'd lose his job and drown in debt, so dying was the better option. He'd already paid the fortune teller a lot of money. Now, with real debt piling up, he wants to die. Kul advises him to stay away from such frauds. Just then the building leader arrives and says, "Don't call our master that fortune teller a fraud. He's great. And we all go to him. He's helped us all." Hearing this, Kyu-pil goes to meet the fortune teller. He's a man sitting there wearing mascara and lipstick. Basically, imagine a budget drag queen with no stage and too much free time. Kyu-pil lets him finish his act, then asks, "How much do you earn?" He makes in 1 month what an average person makes in 5 years. Kyu-pil asks, "Why do you charge people so much? You're the one making noise in the apartment, right? You scare people so they come to you and you take their money." But he flatly denies it. "I'm not crazy enough to make that noise. If the residents move out, who's going to give me money?" Kyu-pil leaves. On her way home, she gets a call from school saying her brother's kids are standing on the road. She rushes over, and just then, her brother shows up. The kids run to their dad. Kyu-pil scolds him. "What kind of father leaves his kids alone on the road? You don't care about them at all." She goes back to the apartment where she finds someone has sprayed something in red paint on her door. She also spots a high school girl nearby. Kyu-pil scolds her, saying, "Clean this up right now or you're in trouble." The girl flips her off and says she didn't do it and doesn't even know who did. High school attitude level, professional grade menace. Kyu-pil goes to the guard to check the CCTV, but the camera is broken, and the residents can't even collect enough money to replace it. The next day, she meets the fortune teller again. He gives her 4 apartment numbers, saying, "These are the ones I sense are making the noise. Maybe you can catch the culprit easily now." Kyu-pil brings the list to the leader. The leader says, "One of them moved out ages ago. The second is an old man who works all day and goes to bed early. The third is a weak woman who I don't think could do it," Kyu-pil asks. "And the fourth?" The leader says, "Oh, that one's a guy, weird fellow, unmarried, but there are women's undergarments all over his house. Maybe he wears them gross. And ever since he came here, the noise started." He could be the culprit. Kyu-pil goes to meet him. But it turns out he's a content creator who makes YouTube videos wearing women's underwear and showing them to people. Some people chase clout. This guy chases laundry detergent endorsements. He even joins their team, because he's not the culprit. Now their team is complete. Kyu-pil, the leader, Hung, the schoolgirl, and the content creator, 5 people in total. The content creator says, "I measured the sound. It's louder on the 2nd floor." So they form a plan. Visit each floor, measure the noise, and compare results to see which floor is loudest. If the noise is loudest on a certain floor, that's probably where the culprit is. The schoolgirl points out, "We're 5 people, but there are 6 floors," Kyu-pil says. "Then we'll take the fortune teller with us. Might as well put him to work for once." She goes to tell the guard the plan. The guard says, "Good plan. But what if the culprit is one of these 6? Kyu-pil replies, "That's good if it's one of them. They'll be too busy measuring sound tonight, so there'll be no noise. We'll know it's them." She starts to leave, but runs into her brother's daughter and takes her home, calling her brother to say, "Mi-young's staying with me tonight." Night falls and everyone gets to work. Everything had just started according to plan when the leader's phone battery died and the schoolgirl mysteriously vanished somewhere in the building. Surprisingly, Hung was the one who did the best job. According to his recording, the loudest noise was coming from the 3rd floor. The police were quickly called, and they stormed into the apartment where the noise was coming from. Inside, they saw the floor was damaged, and a frail-looking woman lived there. She was accused of banging the floor for the past 6 months, and looking at the state of the apartment, it honestly looked like it could be true. The police arrested her in literally 1 second. Hung told Kyu-pil, "If she isn't the culprit, I'm going to jump off the roof," Kyu-pil replied. "No, you can't jump. I locked the rooftop." Translation: "Nice try, Drama King. I'm not letting you turn this into your personal soap opera." The next day, Kyu-pil used her own money to fix the building's elevator so people could come and go easily. When she stepped outside, she saw an old woman using the stairs and said, "Hey, Mom, why are you taking the stairs? Use the elevator." The moment the woman heard her voice, she bolted. Kyu-pil chased her, only to find out It wasn't a woman at all. It was a man. And this man was an illegal squatter secretly living in apartment 202. Keel's suspicion immediately turned toward him. Maybe he was the one making all that banging noise. The man said, "No, it wasn't me, but I saw something, I'll tell you." He explained that he'd lived there in secret and slept with toilet paper under his head to muffle sounds in his ears, because apparently earplugs were too mainstream for him. But last night the noise was too loud, so he went to check. He saw the real culprit in his own living room, banging something hard against the wall. Scared, he quietly went back to sleep and called the police in the morning. That's when they arrested the woman. Kyo went to that same apartment to check. Inside, there was a large metal pipe and marks on the wall, as if someone had been hitting it with a force. She lifted the pipe and started banging the wall herself. The noise was exactly the same as last night, which meant the culprit had been in this apartment, banging the wall, making all the chaos. She quickly called everyone to meet and told the guard that their plan had been leaked. The culprit was one of them, who had used the opportunity to sneak into someone else's apartment and make noise, and they still hadn't caught them. Kyo stormed off in anger to hunt them down, but then the woman from last night threw water in her face, crying, "Why did you report me? You only reported me because I don't have a family. My husband is dead, and I must have looked like the weakest to you." The poor woman cried her eyes out. Keel's brother also showed up to take his daughter home. Watching the scene, he told Keel, "Pack your bags, you're coming home with me, you keep bothering people here." Keel, crying, told him, "Take your daughter and go." Her brother snapped back, "Where is she? Where is my daughter? Tell me." We're then shown a scene from the past. Myung had gone to school early that morning because there was a picnic. All the kids got off the bus at the location, but Myung stayed trapped inside. No one noticed, and the bus sat there for some time. During that time, Myung died inside the bus. Myung had been dead for a long time. Keel just imagined her being around. Carl went home packing her things, still talking to her imaginary Myung. She went to give the guard the money for the elevator maintenance, telling him to keep it in good condition so people could move easily. But when the guard didn't come for a long time, she gave the money to the leader instead and was about to leave. That's when a neighbor came and said, "Thank you for what you did. Because of you, I've finally been able to sleep peacefully for the last 2 nights." Kyo started realizing something was wrong in the building. The neighbor told her the noises had only started after the guard was hired, and that the guard always wore earplugs so he wouldn't hear the noise. Keel began suspecting that she had told all her plan ideas to the guard, and he had used them to his advantage. But the neighbor said, "No, the guard is hardworking. I don't think he'd do something that low. When this building was being constructed, he worked here as a construction worker. Later, he just became the guard." Yeah, because nothing says trustworthy like a guy who already knows every hiding spot in the building. Keel then checked the entire building's records, and her first suspicion immediately fell on Hung. She went to talk to him. "I'm leaving," she said. "At least say goodbye and give me your number so we can stay in touch." From inside, Hung replied, "My phone's broken, go away. I don't need your number." "Yeah, buddy, because God forbid you have basic human contact." Keel came right out with it. "I know it's you. If you need help, come outside." Hung stepped out, his whole face beaten up. "You're right," he said. "Now go away. Because of you, I ended up like this. If I'd died that day, I wouldn't have tortured myself like this, and the thugs wouldn't have beaten me up." Translation: "I made bad life choices, but let's blame you instead, it's easier." Keel started to leave, but then she saw the elevator had stopped working because someone had cut the wires. Furious, she stormed over to the guard. "You did this, didn't you?" she demanded. At first, the guard denied it, but Keel pressed on. "You used to work for a company that demolishes old buildings. When buildings get worn out, companies hire people like you to make noise, cause trouble, and drive residents away so the building gets torn down. You've been sent here for that exact reason. How much are they paying you?" The guard realized Keel had figured it all out, so he attacked her, dragged her into the water tank room and said he was going to kill her and dump her body in the tank. If the building's water supply gets contaminated, everyone will leave in no time, he sneered. We're then shown a scene from a few hours earlier. Hung had met her upstairs and confessed, I'm the one making noise every night because the gang threatened to kill me if I didn't drive the residents away. I'm deep in debt. So I was going to end my life. Then he gathered the entire team and told them the truth. I'm the noisemaker, but the one behind it all is the guard. He's the mastermind. We have to catch him. The leader even grabbed Hung and beat him, because apparently in this group honesty is rewarded with a punch in the face. Kyo-il's brother also joined the team at that point. Meanwhile, Kyo-il lay unconscious, seeing Myung again. Then her brother arrived, rescued her, and, rather than yelling, spoke gently, It's not your fault. Outside, the whole team was waiting. The moment the guards showed up, they started beating him and tried to snatch the key he had, where he had locked away all the documents and proof. They tossed it toward Hung, but the key fell into a drain. From behind, Kyo-il had already grabbed all the guards' files. She bolted past everyone at top speed while people shouted, All the best, to her. In the end, she handed the file over to her officer friend, thrilled that she had finally solved the case. And that's where the movie ends. Moral of the story, in this building, trust no one, especially the guy in uniform who just works here. It's